Let's take a look at prepping pull sheets and returning manifests in the Flex5 tablet app. If you watched our previous video about the warehouse scanning screens, you kind of saw the overview of some of the UI changes that we've made to scanning screens in the tablet app. So we'll, of course, look at that again as we go into a pull sheet, but if you want a little bit more of an overview and some information on that, you can look at the first scanning, warehouse scanning video that we made. So if you want to prep a pull sheet, the only way that we can do that right now, and of course we'll eventually add the ability to search for pull sheets and prep from there, but for now you're going to have to create a widget. And if you don't know how to do that, you could watch our introduction video where we talk about the dashboard and setting up widgets. But you'll want to set up a widget that shows pull sheets that are in the status. In most cases it's going to be awaiting prep, the status that you need to see in order to go and prep that pull sheet. And some people might do a past day window of a couple days just in case they're a day or two late in prepping it, but for the most part you could probably say, I don't need to see the past, I just want to see things that are coming up that need to be prepped. So I set up this scanning demo. If you tap that, it'll just show the basic information that you already have set up, but then it shows this action. This one's called Go to Prep Screen, so I want to tap on that. So like I said in the previous video, the prep and return screens are a little bit more involved because there's more information we have to show. So first thing you'll notice is that we have the scan bar along the top. This is going to show us what our last scan was, give us the option to undo, show us if we've done an invalid scan, and things like that. We still have the barcode input box, you still have the exit, hamburger menu, go into Bluetooth scanning mode. And then again, depending on the device you're using, you will probably see the camera icon to use the camera to scan. Also down here, the thing that we added is the progress bar. You still have the location selector, and then the cogwheel is going to have a few more options. The option to finalize, the option to view the manifest of this pull sheet, view the scan history, and also the sound theme selector is still there. So because there's more information and child line items and things like that that we need to show in the list, we had to make a couple of UI changes for prep and returning as well in order to accommodate that parent-child relationship. So if you have inventory inside of subtotals, then you'll see those subtotals. Then you'll see view child lines, and it will show the quantity of child line items that are in this subtotal. And then it will be red if you don't have them all prepped with the exclamation mark, and then as soon as you do prep everything, that will turn green with a check mark. And if you have items that aren't in any subtotal, they would just be listed below that. So let's click on one of our subtotals. You can see that it kind of creates a breadcrumb here. It shows you where you are, and you can go back to the parent level if you want. And the deeper I get, let's say that this JBL has some child line items to it as well, it will just show the next level up here, and you just tap the back arrow to keep going back. You can also, if you're pretty deep into child line items, you could just tap the PS icon, and it'll take you back to the very top level. So to prep, you don't even have to really be looking at the items in a subtotal. I could just start typing in barcodes or scanning barcodes or whatever method I'm using to scan barcodes, and I could be sitting at the top level here, but as I scan those barcodes, you'll see things update in the subtotal. If I go into the subtotal and refresh, you'll see that updated as well. You'll also see the last scan. It's telling me what I just scanned. I can undo that if I want. And that updates everything accordingly. Let's also look at what information is showing in this right-hand side as we tap through. So let's say I go to computers, then I tap this. That's showing me the model information for this line item, showing me the basic information, and it will show more if there's more information there. So like if I go to that speaker, showing me the bin location, the weight, dimensions, and then it gives me all the different options for this model that I have for prepping. Of course, I could open or edit the inventory model if I want, but also I could virtually scan this model. And virtually scanning a Serialized model is going to show me a list of all the units for that model. I probably don't want to do that for this. But if I virtually scan a non-serialized model like this cable, then it will just show me the quantity prompt. Then I can either use my keyboard to enter something or use the virtual keypad that we put in here. I could also substitute a line. So let's say that I can't find any of these JBL speakers. I want to substitute it with something else. If I hit substitute line after I clicked on this model, it works a lot like you're used to on the desktop. It'll just say the next thing you scan will scan for this speaker. And it will prep for that speaker even though I scanned something else. And if I want to substitute the next one, I have to hit that again. And if I change my mind, I could just cancel. So as I start scanning things, I could go view my scan history, see everything that I've scanned so far. And look at this, because I undid this scan, it shows in red and says this was the undo prep scan was executed by, or on this date. And I could undo any scan that I want from the scan history. As I tap through here, you can see undo prep scan as an option. So if I scan 10 items and then realized 10 items ago that I scanned something I wasn't supposed to, I could undo it from the scan history. If I want to get back to the pull sheet, I just hit the cogwheel again and then hit pull sheets. Or again, I could always just tap that PS icon and it takes me right back to the pull sheet list. So I could virtually scan this serialized model. In fact, I'm going to virtually scan a few of these just so I can show you how the progress goes up. And then let's say that I'm done with my prep. First I could review the manifest, and the list just shifts to show the manifest view. I can tap through to view the information about the things that I scanned. Then I'll go back to the pull sheet, and I can finalize the pull sheet. You can still view everything, but you can't interact with anything now. I could still tap in here and view model information, but I can't do any of the actions. Unless I unfinalize, then that unlocks the access and I can start scanning things again. Like for example here, it's showing me that there are some child line items for this JBL speaker. Let's see what those are. Oh, it looks like there's some XLR cables, so I could scan those. And now when I go back, that shows as checked off and prepped. And now I just need to prep that last speaker. And I have check marks all around. And my audio subtotal should be checked off completely now. Let's go back to our lighting. And again, let's just virtually scan a few items here. So now I have 100% prepped and I could finalize. And again, unfinalize if I have to. You also saw as I was scanning things, I could always log maintenance on items as I'm going along. And if you watched our previous video about inquiry and free scanning, if I scan something that is decommissioned or out of commission, it will pop up a prompt telling me that I need to do something about those out of commission or decommission tags. I could resolve them if I want before I scan. So you'll see a lot of the things that you're used to as you're scanning in the app. Beforehand, I also set up a widget, element list widget for manifests. So it's showing manifests that are prepped, just so we could get the manifest of the thing that I just prepped, and then go to the return screen. We'll look at this manifest signature in just a minute, but that's a new feature that we have. In fact, we'll look at that in a separate video since that's a standalone feature. But if I go to the return screen, here's the manifest, all the items that I scanned. It's very similar to what I was doing on the prep screen. I could hand enter barcodes. I could connect a Bluetooth scanner and go into Bluetooth mode and start scanning things with the Bluetooth barcode scanner. Again, the camera icon doesn't show for me, but it probably does for you, and you could scan barcodes with the camera by tapping that. I could also just tap on the manifest line item and do a virtual scan. And that returns it for me. Maybe I return something that needs maintenance. I could log maintenance just right from here. And just like other scanning screens, I can change my scanning location, and that would change which location items are being scanned into. So you have to be careful with that. And then on the cogwheel, I have a scan history, or I can undo scans if I want. The option to finalize, and of course the option to change my scanning sound theme. So most of the functionality that you're used to, you can use here in the prep and return screens. One thing we didn't cover is something like a free pick container. So if I enter a free pick container barcode, it will ask, do you want to open the free pick container?
Free pick container opened.
And it will tell me that I'm scanning into that free pick container case until I close it. So anything that I scan from here will scan into that case, including virtual scans and things like that. And if you're used to how free pick containers work, then of course everything that I scan will show as inside of this container on the manifest. And then when I close the container, or I could scan the free pick container barcode again and it would close for me.
Free pick container closed.
So that's the basics of prepping and returning items, pull sheets and manifests in the app. Again, there's a few other features that we'll look at. The manifest signature will be a separate video, and then also content builder. We're going to do a separate video on that. So look for those on our YouTube page or in the user manual, but those should be some of the last things that you need to watch in order to use all the functionality of the tablet app.